I first heard about MortemNet on an obscure late-night forum. It was one of those threads filled with digital urban legends, like haunted YouTube videos, cursed images, and government cover-ups. Most were ridiculous, but something about this one stuck with me. A website that could predict your death. According to the thread, it didn't just make vague guesses. It gave you an exact date and cause of death, down to the last detail. And once you saw your prediction, it was unchangeable. Some claimed they had tried to avoid their fate, only to meet their end exactly as foretold. It's just a hoax, I muttered to myself, scrolling past the testimonies. But I couldn't deny the itch of curiosity creeping into my mind. It was past midnight when I finally caved. I was alone in my apartment, the glow of my laptop the only light in the room. The night outside was dead quiet. Finding the site was harder than I expected. Most links were dead, leading to 404 pages or deleted forums. But after digging through archives and old Reddit threads, I found it. The URL was simple: mortemnet.onion, a Tor address, meaning it was part of the dark web. I hesitated, but something in me wanted to see it for myself. I copied the link into my Tor browser and hit enter. The screen went black. A single line of text appeared. Do you wish to know? A blinking cursor waited for my response. I swallowed hard. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. This was stupid. It was just an urban legend, a creepy gimmick. I typed yes and hit enter. For a few moments, nothing happened. Then, a new message loaded. Processing request. My screen flickered. The site went completely dark, then displayed a single line in cold, plain text. Your death is scheduled for August 17, 2026. Cause? Asphyxiation. The air in my apartment suddenly felt too thick. My breath came out shallow. A wave of nausea rolled through me. I stared at the words, the date, the cause. Asphyxiation. Choking? Drowning? Suffocation? There were 100 ways it could happen. My heart pounded against my ribs as I tried to rationalize it. It's just a prank site, I whispered. But then the screen flickered again. A second message appeared, chilling me to the bone. Your fate is sealed. I slammed my laptop shut, and at that exact moment, a knock came from my front door. I froze. The knock at my door was soft, deliberate. I wasn't expecting anyone. It was past midnight, and my apartment was on the 3rd floor of a building with a security system. The main entrance was locked at night. No one could get in unless I let them. Another knock. I hesitated, every instinct telling me not to move. My laptop sat closed on my desk, but the words burned in my mind. Your fate is sealed. I swallowed hard, trying to shake the paranoia creeping into my bones. It was probably just a neighbor, maybe someone drunk who got the wrong door. I forced myself to stand and walked slowly to the peephole. The hallway was empty. My breath hitched. Another knock. This time softer. Closer. The sound wasn't coming from the front door anymore. It was coming from inside my apartment. I turned around too fast, my heart slamming against my ribs. The living room was still. The kitchen was dark. The only noise was the faint hum of my refrigerator. I grabbed the nearest object, a heavy glass candle, and stepped forward cautiously. Silence. I checked the bathroom. Empty. My closet. Empty. Even under the bed. Nothing. I exhaled sharply, my pulse still racing. I was letting that stupid website get to me. A prank site, some dark web gimmick. That was all. But I wasn't stupid. I shut every window, checked the locks on my door, twice. I even slid a chair in front of it just in case. Then, reluctantly, I reopened my laptop. The MortemNet page was gone, closed on its own. I hesitated, then typed the URL back in. A 404 error. The site had vanished. I tried refreshing. Nothing. It was as if it had never existed. Maybe that was a good thing. Maybe it meant I could just forget the whole thing and move on. But as I was about to shut my laptop again, a new email appeared in my inbox. The subject line made my blood run cold. Your fate is sealed. Clicked it, hands trembling. Inside was a single message. See you soon, Daniel. A sharp breath left my lungs. I hadn't used my real name anywhere. Then, at the bottom of the email, an attachment. A video file. I hesitated. Every nerve in my body screamed not to open it. But against my better judgment, I clicked. The screen went black for a moment. Then static. A grainy video feed flickered on. It showed a dimly lit apartment. A small desk. A laptop. A figure sitting in front of it. I stared, confusion turning to horror. The apartment in the video, it was mine. The figure sitting at the desk, it was me. I couldn't move. The video showed me sitting at my desk in real time. Same clothes, same laptop, same dim glow from my screen. But then, something changed. In the video, I wasn't alone anymore. The figure stood behind me, tall, shadowed, motionless. I spun around, nearly knocking my chair over. The room was empty. My breath came in short, sharp gasps. My mind screamed at me to turn off the laptop, to get out of the apartment. But I couldn't look away. In the video, I was still sitting there, staring at the screen. The figure loomed behind me, featureless, like a silhouette carved from darkness. Then, slowly, it leaned forward. Its face, or what should have been a face, moved closer to mine, its outline flickering in and out like bad reception. I felt something shift in the air behind me, something cold. Then, my video self did something that shattered my sanity. He turned his head. Not in real life. In the video. In the grainy, low-resolution feed, my own reflection turned, staring directly into the camera. Staring at me. And he smiled. I slammed the laptop shut. The room was silent. The air felt thick, wrong. My skin prickled like something unseen was crawling over it. Then my phone buzzed. I nearly screamed. With shaking hands, I picked it up. A notification. Unknown number. Why did you look away? I dropped the phone like it burned me. This was impossible. I was losing my mind. This had to be some elaborate prank, right? A virus that hacked my webcam? A hallucination? But then, knock, knock. The sound came from my closet. A slow, deliberate tap against the wooden door. I took a shaky step back. The knocking came again. I wasn't breathing. My lungs felt locked, frozen in my chest. Then my phone buzzed again. Another message. Unknown number. Open it. I turned and ran. I didn't stop to grab anything. I didn't care. I yanked open my front door and bolted into the hallway. Heart pounding. My mind a blur of panic. I reached the stairwell, breathing hard, ready to fly down the steps and never look back. But then, I saw something that made my stomach drop. The other apartment doors in the hallway were open. All of them, wide open. The hall was completely silent. No lights on inside the other apartments. No movement, like everyone had just disappeared. I stood there, heart hammering in my throat. Then my phone buzzed one last time. I swallowed hard and looked down. The message was different this time. Unknown number. There's nowhere to run, Daniel. I heard a breath behind me. Hot, close, almost inside my ear. Then, the lights went out. The hallway plunged into darkness. For a moment, I was too frozen to move. My breath came in quick, panicked bursts. Then footsteps. Not mine. Soft, deliberate, coming from behind me. I forced my legs to move, running blindly down the stairs, gripping the handrail so I wouldn't trip. My footsteps echoed in the empty stairwell, but the other ones, the ones following me, were silent. I reached the ground floor, bolting towards the main entrance. The glass doors were right there, just a few more steps. But when I grabbed the handle, I stopped cold. The doors were locked. No, not just locked, chained shut. Thick, rusted metal chains looped around the handles, secured with a heavy padlock. This wasn't normal. This wasn't supposed to be here. I yanked at the chains, desperation making my hands slick with sweat. Nothing. Then I caught movement in the reflection of the glass. I turned. A figure stood at the top of the stairwell. Tall, featureless, waiting. I backed away slowly. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely keep them at my sides. Then my phone buzzed again. I looked down. Unknown number. You can't leave, Daniel. You already know. I let out a shaky breath, my mind racing for solutions. The fire exit, I could try the fire exit. I turned and sprinted down the hall, pushing through the heavy door. Cold night air hit me like a slap to the face. The alley behind my building was empty, stretching into the darkness. I didn't stop, I just ran. I didn't care where I was going. I just needed to get away. I ran until my legs burned, until my breath came in ragged gasps. I didn't stop until I reached a 24-hour gas station, its fluorescent lights flickering like a dying pulse. I stumbled inside, bent over, trying to catch my breath. The cashier, a tired-looking guy in his 20s, glanced up from his phone. "Dude, you okay?" I didn't answer. Couldn't. My head was spinning. My heart was hammering. I pulled out my phone, fingers shaking, and scrolled through my messages. The texts from the unknown number, they were gone. No messages.
No notifications.
No record that they ever existed. My call log? Empty. My email? No message from MortemNet. Like none of it had ever happened. I let out a shuddering breath. Was I losing my mind? Had I imagined everything? I glanced at the gas station's security cameras. They were pointed outside, facing the parking lot. "Hey," I said, my voice hoarse. "You guys keep security footage?" The cashier frowned. "Yeah." "Why? Can I see it?" He hesitated but eventually shrugged. "Sure, man. Whatever." He turned the screen towards me. The footage played in grainy black and white. I saw myself running up to the store, bent over, gasping for breath. Alone. I felt a wave of nausea roll through me. In the reflection of the gas station window, I had seen something behind me. But in the security footage, I was completely alone. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to breathe. "You good, man?" the cashier asked again. I couldn't answer, because as I stood there, staring at the screen, the security footage began to glitch. The image warped, lines of static running across the screen. And then, for one single frame, a tall, shadowed figure flickered into view. Standing right behind me, I turned around, and the gas station lights went out. Darkness swallowed the gas station. I backed away from the counter, pulse hammering in my ears. Somewhere in the dark, I heard the cashier curse. "What the hell?" A faint hum filled the air, the flickering of cooling units, the distant buzz of a street lamp struggling to stay alive. Then footsteps, soft, deliberate, moving across the store. Not the cashier's. Something else was in here with us. I reached into my pocket, gripping my phone like a lifeline. The screen was black, dead. Then,
Top. Top. Top.
a slow, deliberate knock on the refrigerated glass doors behind me. I turned, every nerve in my body screaming not to look. Through the dim emergency lighting, I saw it. A reflection in the glass. Tall, motionless, right behind me, but when I spun around, nothing. I staggered back, heart slamming against my ribs. The cold sweat on my skin felt like ice. The power flickered once, then returned with a harsh, buzzing glow. "What the hell was that?" the cashier muttered, rubbing his arms. Damn lights are always screwy. But I wasn't listening. My gaze was still locked on the refrigerated glass. My reflection was staring at me, but something was wrong. I lifted my hand. It lifted its hand. I tilted my head, tilted its head, but its eyes never blinked. And then it smiled. Not a normal smile, a too wide grin, stretching unnaturally across its face. I stumbled backward, knocking over a display of gum and lighters. The cashier looked up. "Dude." I didn't answer. I turned and ran. I didn't stop running until I was blocks away from the gas station. My body was running on pure terror, every shadow stretching too long, every sound making me jump. I didn't go back to my apartment. Couldn't. Instead, I checked into the cheapest motel I could find. Paid in cash. No names, no questions. The room smelled like cigarette smoke and mildew, but I didn't care. I locked the door. I shoved a chair under the handle. I checked the closet, the bathroom, under the bed. Nothing. I collapsed onto the mattress, shaking. I needed answers. I pulled out my laptop. The The screen flickered as it booted up. My fingers trembled as I typed. MortemNet. Nothing. The site was gone. I scoured forums, deep web archives, nothing. Like it had never existed. But then, as I refreshed a random forum page, a new post appeared. Do you wish to know? I stopped breathing. My hands hovered over the keyboard. Before I could react, the page updated itself. You already know, Daniel. But now, the countdown begins. My stomach twisted. The timer appeared. 187 days. 14 hours. 23 minutes. The exact amount of time until August 17, 2026. My death date. I slammed the laptop shut. My phone vibrated in my pocket. I didn't want to look, but I did. Unknown number. See you soon. The screen flickered. And then, the countdown appeared on my phone, too. I didn't sleep. I sat on the motel bed, staring at my phone. The countdown kept ticking down, second by second. Every breath I took felt like a step toward my own grave. I had to do something. I grabbed my laptop and went back to the forums. The original threads about MortemNet were gone, wiped clean like they never existed. But I wasn't giving up that easily. I went deeper. Backdoors. Proxy servers. I dug into old archives, deleted pages, anything that might give me a lead. After hours of searching, I found something. Private forum. Hidden deep in an abandoned section of the dark web. The title sent a chill through me. The Doomed. I clicked in. The forum was active. Hundreds of users. And every thread was the same. My death date is coming soon. Has anyone survived? It knows where I am. Help me. My heart pounded. These weren't random ghost stories. They were real people. People who had visited MortemNet. And they were all counting down. I started reading. User after user described exactly what was happening to me. The emails. The texts. The figure in the shadows. Some tried to escape. They went off the grid, ran across the country, changed their identities. None of them survived. The most active thread was pinned to the top. A way out. The original post was from a user named Elias13. I found something. The predictions are real, but there might be a way to break them. If you're reading this, you don't have much time. I don't either. We need to talk. Fast. There was an email address at the bottom. I hesitated for half a second before sending a message. I didn't expect a response. But 2 minutes later, my phone buzzed. An incoming call. No caller ID. I stared at the screen. Every nerve in my body screamed not to answer. But I did. Hello, I whispered. A raspy voice came through the speaker.
Urgent.
Panicked. You're Daniel, right? My throat was dry. Yeah. A sharp breath. Then, you need to listen to me. They're already watching you. But there's a way out. My blood turned to ice. Who's watching me? A pause. Then, the ones who run the site. The ones who decide who dies. I swallowed hard. My voice was barely a whisper. How do I stop it? There was a rustling sound on the other end, like someone was checking over their shoulder. You have to find the source. The original site. The place where it started. Before MortemNet, there was something else. A loud crash echoed through the phone. The sound of breaking glass. Then a muffled scream. My heart stopped. Elias! I whispered. No response. Just ragged breathing. Then, a new voice. Low. Hollow. You shouldn't have called him, Daniel. The call cut out. And then, my motel room lights went out. Darkness swallowed the motel room. My pulse thundered in my ears as I fumbled for my phone. But the screen was dead. Completely black. The air in the room shifted. Heavier somehow. Like something unseen was pressing in from all sides. Then, from the farthest corner of the room, a breath. I wasn't alone. I backed up slowly, my hand reaching for the motel door. But before I could move, a voice whispered from the darkness. You can't run, Daniel. A burst of cold air rushed past me, and suddenly, the lights flickered back on. The room was empty.
No shadows.
No figures. No one there. But my laptop screen was on, displaying a single message. Go now, before they stop you. I didn't need to be told twice. I drove through the night, my hands gripping the wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. I didn't know where I was going, only that I had to keep moving. Somewhere out there was the source, the place where MortemNet began. Elias had mentioned something before he died. A site before MortemNet. I racked my brain, thinking back to all the research I had done. And then I remembered. Years ago, before the deep web rumors about MortemNet started, there had been another site. A government project that had supposedly been abandoned. It was called the Thanatos Program. People whispered that it was an experiment in predicting death, something to do with advanced AI and government surveillance. But it had been shut down, deleted, buried, or so everyone thought. I drove to the nearest library, a small 24-hour building in a dead town. No security cameras, no one watching. I connected to a private network, digging as deep as I could. And after hours of searching, buried in the ruins of an old dark web archive, I found it. A single link. No name, no description, just a blinking cursor and an invitation. Enter the void. My breath hitched. This was it. The source. I clicked. The screen went black. Then white text appeared. Welcome to Thanatos. I clenched my jaw. My fingers hovered over the keys, but the site responded before I could type. You are already marked, Daniel. There is no escape. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to keep reading. You want to know the truth? Here it is. You are not the first. You will not be the last. MortemNet is only the surface. We see everything. We decide who dies. And once you know your fate, it cannot be undone. I gritted my teeth. Who are you? I typed. For the first time, the response took longer. Then, slowly, the answer appeared. We are the ones who end things. We are the last breath before silence. A chill ran down my spine. Then the screen flickered, and a new countdown appeared. But this one was different. And 10 seconds. And 9 seconds. It was counting down to right now. I slammed the laptop shut. And then the library lights went out. I ran. Out of the library. Into the cold night air. My heart hammering in my chest. I sprinted toward my car, gasping for breath, and froze. Someone was standing next to my car. Tall. Motionless. A dark figure waiting. My breath hitched. I turned to run. And another stood behind me. Then another. And another. Shadowed figures. Surrounding me in every direction.
No faces.
No features. Just watching. My phone vibrated in my pocket. I didn't want to look. But I did. A single message. Your time is up. A breath of cold air rushed past my ear. And everything went black. The police found my car abandoned in the library parking lot the next morning. The laptop was still inside, open to a blank screen. No records. No history. No evidence that MortemNet or Thanatos ever existed. My apartment was empty. My personal records were wiped. It was as if I had never existed. Just like all the others before me. The countdown had reached 0. And, as always, MortemNet was right. The dead never escape. It started with a typo. I was doing research for a paper on forgotten corners of the internet, searching for old, abandoned message boards. My professor called them digital graveyards. He had no idea how literal that would become. I was trying to access an old obituary forum, epitaphforum.net, but in my exhaustion, I typed epitaphonline.org. The page loaded instantly. It was a simple black screen.
No logos.
No ads. Just a long list of discussion threads. At first, I thought I had stumbled onto some kind of horror fan forum. But then I started reading. Did anyone come to my funeral? Buried or cremated? What did you pick? Can you still hear them after they leave? The posts were strange. Disturbing. They weren't stories. They were conversations. And the timestamps, they were all recent. A deep unease settled in my chest. But I kept scrolling. Some posts had hundreds of replies. Then I saw one that made my breath catch in my throat. New arrivals, check in here. I clicked. The page was nothing more than a list of usernames. Each entry had a date and a cause of death. The most recent post was just minutes old. User M. Hastings. Joined. January 25th, 2025. Cause of death. Drowning. My fingers hovered over the trackpad, my stomach twisting into knots. Was this a joke? Some kind of morbid roleplay? I moved to click away, and that's when I saw it. A new message at the top of the screen. Welcome, John. I felt my blood turn to ice. I hadn't signed up, hadn't entered my name. My fingers trembled as I reached for the power button, ready to shut everything down. Then another message appeared. You're early. I slammed my laptop shut, but the moment I did, my phone buzzed. A new email. The subject line sent a chill through my bones. John, your funeral is coming soon. I did not sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the words repeating in my mind. You're early. Your funeral is coming soon. It had to be a prank. Maybe a hacker. Maybe some creep who got into my browser history. But it didn't feel like a prank. Felt personal. By morning, I convinced myself I had overreacted. I opened my laptop, hesitant, but determined to rationalize what had happened. I went to check my email. The message was gone. No trace of it. No sent address. No way to retrieve it. I checked the forum history. Maybe I had imagined the whole thing. But epitaphonline.org was still there. Still active. Still growing. I scrolled through the posts again, skimming through the threads with a sick sense of curiosity. Then I saw it. A new post at the top of the forum. A thread titled, John Doe, your funeral is being prepared. I stopped breathing. I clicked. Inside, there was only one message. We are waiting for you. I slammed the laptop shut again, my pulse racing. Then, a knock at my door. I nearly jumped out of my chair. It was too early for deliveries, and I never had visitors. I walked to the door cautiously, pressing my eye to the peephole. The hallway outside my apartment was empty. I waited, holding my breath. Then my phone buzzed. Another email. This time there was an attachment. A photo. My front door. Taken from the hallway. I stumbled back, my heart slamming in my chest. Something was out there, and it knew my name. I didn't stay in my apartment. I grabbed my keys and bolted, barely taking the time to throw on shoes before I ran to my car. I needed to go somewhere, anywhere, with people. Noise. Bright lights. I ended up at a 24-hour diner, sitting in the farthest booth, laptop open in front of me. I hesitated before logging back into the forum. Every instinct screamed at me to stop, but I needed answers. I clicked on the user list. The forum had thousands of members. I scrolled through the names, feeling the hairs on my arms rise. Every single user had a death date next to their name. Some had happened years ago. Some were happening right now. Then I noticed something even worse. There were 3 usernames at the bottom marked active. They were all from today, and one of them was mine. John Doe 92 joining soon. My stomach dropped. Before I could react, a chat box popped up. A direct message. User A. Carmichael. Message. You're early. Like me. I hesitated. Then, against my better judgment, I typed back. Who are you? A response came immediately. Someone who shouldn't be here either. We need to talk. Now, before they find out. I swallowed hard. Who is they? This time, the response took longer. The ones who run this place. The ones who keep the dead, dead. My blood turned to ice. I don't understand. You will. But you don't have much time. Where are you? I hesitated again. Then I typed. At a diner. Outside the city. Carmichael's response sent a fresh wave of terror through me. No, you're not. I froze. I see you. Booth in the corner. Black hoodie. Laptop open. My hands went ice cold. I scanned the diner, heart hammering, but no one was looking at me. Another message popped up. Don't turn around. Just listen. They're already here. My breath caught in my throat. Then, the lights flickered. The air in the diner shifted. The sound of chatter and silverware on plates faded into silence. I felt it before I saw it. presence. Right behind me. Watching. Waiting. I reached for my laptop, hands trembling. Another message. Run. Now. But when I stood, every person in the diner turned to face me. Their eyes were completely black. The screen glitched. A final message appeared. It's too late, John. The lights went out. And I wasn't alone anymore. It started with a text message from Alex. Alex, dude, check this out. But don't watch it alone. A YouTube link sat below the message. I frowned. Alex was always sending me weird videos, creepy conspiracy theories, found footage horror, dark web mysteries. Half of them were fake, the other half were so grainy and distorted you could barely make out what was happening. I stared at the link for a moment, debating whether to open it. It was late, 1:37 a.m., and my apartment was silent except for the low hum of my refrigerator. The glow from my laptop was the only light in the room. Against my better judgment, I clicked. The video loaded instantly. The title was strange. Do not watch this video. Classic clickbait. The thumbnail was just a black screen. The channel name was gibberish. Something like at YX_98.
No subscribers.
No other videos. I hesitated, but curiosity won. The video began. The screen stayed black for the first few seconds. No sound. No music. Just silence. Then the image flickered on. A dimly lit room. Concrete walls. A single wooden chair sat in the middle of the frame, facing the camera. A single light bulb flickered above it. Something about it made me uneasy. Then, a voice whispered, "Are you watching?" The voice was too close. Not coming from my laptop speakers, but from somewhere in the room. The screen glitched. The chair was empty. Then, in a single frame, too fast for my brain to fully process, a figure appeared. Tall, shadowy, unmoving. I barely had time to react before the whisper came again. This time right next to my ear. "It's in your room now." My laptop screen flickered and went black. The air in my apartment changed. The room was completely silent, like all sound had been sucked out of existence. Then, a soft creak came from the corner of my apartment. I wasn't alone. I sat frozen in my chair, barely breathing. The creak had come from the far corner of my apartment, just outside my field of vision. I didn't want to look. The logical part of my brain screamed that it was nothing. The video had messed with my head. A weird sound. Coincidence. My apartment was empty. It had to be. But then, another sound. Faint shuffling. Slow. Deliberate. Like someone shifting their weight. I swallowed hard. My pulse thundered in my ears. I turned my head just a fraction. Just enough to see the darkened corner of my living room. There was nothing there. But something felt wrong. The shadows in that corner looked deeper. Like they didn't belong. The dim glow from my laptop should have reached that far. But instead, the darkness seemed thicker, heavier. Like it was watching me. I exhaled slowly, forcing myself to move. My fingers trembled as I reached for my phone. No signal.
No Wi-Fi.
That was impossible. A wave of cold unease swept over me. I forced a nervous laugh. "Okay, Alex. You got me." I closed my laptop. The screen's glow disappeared, leaving the room in complete darkness. And that's when I heard it. A whisper. Soft. Ragged. From the dark corner of my apartment. "Are you watching?" I shot out of my chair, knocking it over as I stumbled backward. My breath came in short gasps, my heart pounding against my ribs. No way. I was alone. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight, shining it directly into the corner. The light cut through the shadows, and for a split second something moved. A shape, too tall, too thin, gone in an instant. My pulse hammered as I kept the flashlight pointed, waiting for something to happen. Nothing did. The room was empty. I forced out a shaky breath, running a hand through my hair. I was freaking myself out. That was all. The video had been some kind of psychological trick, suggestion, subliminal imagery. Maybe even a virus that messed with my signal. That had to be it. I turned the flashlight off. And then, The chair in the video, the one from my screen, it was now sitting in the middle of my apartment. I hadn't heard it move. I hadn't seen it before, but it was there, waiting. I bolted out of my apartment. I didn't stop to grab my keys, my jacket, or anything else. I just ran. The hallway outside my unit was dead silent. My neighbors' doors were all closed. No distant sounds of TV, no humming from the vending machine down the hall. The entire building felt wrong. I ran down the stairs and straight into the parking lot, my breath fogging in the cold night air. My hands trembled as I pulled out my phone and tried calling Alex. Still no signal. I stood there, shaking, trying to convince myself that I hadn't just seen my own furniture move. Then, finally, my phone buzzed. A text message. I nearly dropped the phone when I saw the sender. It wasn't Alex. It was from my own number. And it said, "Why did you run?" I felt my stomach drop. My breath caught in my throat. Before I could react, another message popped up. "You didn't finish watching." I backed away from my apartment, my heart slamming in my chest. My car was still in the lot. If I could just get in, drive somewhere, find someone. Then my phone buzzed again. Another message. "It's okay. We'll watch together." A wave of cold air rushed past me, like someone was standing right behind me. I turned, but the parking lot was empty. The streetlights flickered. My skin crawled. I forced myself to move, fumbling for my car door. I needed to get out of here. I wrenched the door open and jumped inside, locking it behind me. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the keys. I jammed them into the ignition and turned. The engine wouldn't start. I twisted the key again. Nothing. Then, my phone screen lit up. A video file had been sent to me.
No sender.
No title. Just a play button. I stared at it, my breath shallow. I didn't touch anything. But the video started playing on its own. And on the screen was me, sitting in my car, with something crouching in the back seat. I spun around, heart slamming against my ribs. Nothing. The back seat was empty. But on my phone screen, the video kept playing. The version of me in the video sat frozen in the driver's seat, face pale, staring at the camera. And then, slowly, he turned his head toward the back seat. I watched in paralyzed horror as his eyes went wide. His mouth opened to scream. Then static. The video ended. I dropped the phone, my breathing ragged. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't normal. Something was hunting me. I grabbed the door handle, ready to bolt, but then, a handprint appeared on the inside of my windshield. Faint, smudged. From the inside, I stopped breathing. The temperature in the car plummeted. The air thickened, heavy with something unseen. Then, from behind me, a whisper. "Are you watching?" I didn't look. Couldn't. My fingers trembled as I reached for the door handle. The whisper came again, closer this time. "Watch." I squeezed my eyes shut and threw the door open, falling onto the pavement. The moment I hit the ground, the car's interior light flickered. For a split second, I saw something sitting in the back seat. Thin, distorted, a shape that was almost human but wrong. Then the light went out, and it was gone. I scrambled to my feet and ran, as fast and as far as I could. I don't remember getting home. I don't remember anything except the feeling of being followed. I smashed my laptop, threw my phone out. I haven't seen a screen in weeks, but it doesn't matter, because at night, in the dark corners of my apartment, I still hear the whisper. "Are you watching?" And sometimes, when the lights flicker, I know that it's watching me. I wasn't looking for it. In fact, I had no idea it even existed. I was in my dorm room, working on a cybersecurity research paper about dark web anomalies. Those digital ghost stories about lost URLs, haunted chat rooms, and pages that existed for mere seconds before disappearing forever. I didn't believe in any of it, of course. But I was fascinated by how rumors spread, how people claimed to have seen these sites. Yet there was never any real evidence. I had dozens of archived links open, combing through old forum posts and snapshots of defunct websites. Most of them were fake. Some had been taken down by authorities. Others were just clickbait scams. But then one link stood out. It had no title, no description, just a URL buried in an old message board post from 2012. I hesitated for a moment. The post itself was eerie. If you find this link, do not click. It isn't meant for you. It's a mistake. Close this page and walk away. I scoffed. Classic internet creepypasta bullshit. Still, something about it felt different. My cursor hovered over the link. I hesitated. Then curiosity won. I clicked. The page loaded instantly. No lag, no buffering, just a solid black screen. First, I thought the site was broken. Then white text appeared. 404 error. Page not found. I frowned. Just a dead link, then. Nothing special. But before I could close the tab, the text changed. You were not supposed to see this. My breath caught in my throat. Then, below that, exit now. A single button appeared. No other options. I exhaled sharply, my chest tight with a strange sense of unease. Was this some kind of ARG? A deep web puzzle? Maybe an old hacker test? I moved my cursor to the exit button. I clicked. The page flickered. Then, my screen went black. For a few seconds, my laptop was completely unresponsive. I pressed the power button. Nothing. Then, abruptly, the screen flashed back on. Everything seemed normal. But my stomach twisted when I noticed something wasn't right. All my open tabs were gone. My browser history had been wiped. Even my saved documents were missing. I swallowed hard, trying to ignore the unease creeping up my spine. Then, a notification popped up. New email, no sender. My fingers trembled as I clicked. Inside the email was a single line of text. You have 72 hours before they find you. Attached was a photo of me, sitting at my desk. But the photo was taken from inside my dorm room. My breath hitched. I stared at the email, my mind refusing to process what I was seeing. The photo showed me exactly as I was now. Sitting at my desk, laptop open, face illuminated by the screen's glow. I twisted around in my chair, scanning my tiny dorm room. There was no one here. No open window. No gaps in the door. No way for someone to have taken that picture without me noticing. Then my screen flickered again. A new email.
No sender.
No subject. Just a single line. Do not look for us. Do not speak of this. Do not run. My stomach twisted into knots. I slammed my laptop shut and grabbed my phone. I needed to tell someone. Anyone. I dialed Alex, my best friend. The call failed. I tried again. Your call cannot be completed as dialed. My hands trembled as I switched to messages, typing frantically. Dude, something weird is happening. I need to talk ASAP. I hit send. The message failed. No signal. I stared at the screen in horror. My Wi-Fi was still active. My router lights were on. Everything should be working, but I was completely cut off. Then, a knock at my door. Soft. Slow. I turned, dread tightening in my chest. I wasn't expecting anyone, and whoever was knocking was using just one finger. I could hear it.
Oslo, deliberate top.
I swallowed hard, forcing my body to move. I stepped forward, pressed my eye to the peephole, and my blood turned to ice. The hallway was empty. There was no one there, but the knocking continued. Right in front of me, I backed away from the door, my breath coming in ragged gasps. The knocking had stopped, but the air in my dorm felt different. Heavy, like something unseen had entered the room. My laptop screen flickered back on. I hadn't touched it. The 404 page had returned. But now there was new text. They are here. I turned just in time to see the closet door creak open. A shadow moved inside. I ran. I didn't stop to grab anything. I didn't even check behind me. I just bolted out of my dorm and into the hallway, my heart hammering in my chest. The hall was deserted. The lights flickered. A hum filled the air, low, vibrating, almost like a distant radio signal. Then footsteps, not just one set, several, coming from every direction. I sprinted toward the stairwell. I flew down the steps, skipping entire flights, nearly falling as I reached the lobby. But when I pushed open the front door, my stomach dropped. The world outside was wrong. The parking lot, the street, the buildings, all gone. In their place was a black void. No stars.
No sky.
Just endless darkness. I turned back toward the lobby, and standing there waiting for me were 6 figures. Tall, shadowed, featureless, watching, waiting. One of them raised a hand, and my phone vibrated. A new message. I forced myself to look. You should not have clicked. The figures stepped forward, and everything went black. When I woke up, I was somewhere else. Not my dorm. Not the lobby. A small, windowless room. A single laptop sat on a desk in front of me. The screen glowed. The 404 page was open. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. But then, I noticed the text on the screen. You are now the administrator. My breath hitched. The cursor blinked beneath the words. Waiting. Then, the screen updated itself. A new user had visited the forbidden page. User, Alex D., my best friend. And beneath his name, a button labeled Terminate. A chill ran through me. I tried to close the laptop, but my hands wouldn't move. I wasn't in control anymore. The text on the screen changed again. Welcome to the system. You cannot leave. I struggled, screaming, trying to force my body to move, but the only thing that moved was my hand. It reached out, shaking, and clicked the button. Terminate. And just like that, Alex was gone. All records, all memories, erased, and a new message appeared. Next user incoming. The screen refreshed. A new name appeared. User you. And beneath it, a countdown, and 10 seconds, and 9 seconds, 0:00:08. I don't remember the accident. One moment, I was on the highway, driving home after a late shift. The next, I woke up in my apartment, confused, dazed, and with a strange, empty feeling in my chest. The clock read 3:12 a.m. Something felt wrong. I couldn't put my finger on it, but the air in my apartment seemed thicker, muted, like I was hearing everything through water. I walked to the bathroom, flicking on the light. My reflection looked strange, paler than usual. My skin had an almost faded quality like an old photograph. I rubbed my eyes, splashed cold water on my face. Then my laptop screen lit up. A new notification. I walked over, my pulse quickening as I read the message. Welcome to the Afterlife board. Below it was a single link. Afterlifeboard.web. I frowned. I had never signed up for anything like this. It sounded like some weird occult forum. But when I moved to close the tab, the link clicked itself. And the screen went black. The forum loaded instantly. A simple black background. White text. No ads. No navigation bar. At the top, in bold letters, was a welcome message. You have arrived. Introduce yourself. Beneath it was a list of discussion threads. I scrolled down, my unease growing as I read the topics. Anyone else confused about how they got here? Did your body ever get found? What does it feel like to fade? Why can't I dream anymore? My hands felt cold. This wasn't some role-playing site. The posts weren't written like stories or jokes. They felt real. I clicked on a thread titled, The Moment You Knew. The first post sent a chill through my bones. I was in a car crash. 1 second, I was swerving to avoid a truck. The next, I was home. But my phone didn't work. My reflection looked off. I thought I was fine. But then I found the article online. About my accident. About my death. That's when I knew. I swallowed hard. I clicked on another post. I fell from a building. I don't remember hitting the ground. Just waking up in my bed. My friends wouldn't answer my texts. No one looked at me on the street. It was like I didn't exist. Then, I found this forum. I felt sick. I stood up too fast, knocking over my chair. No, this wasn't real. It was just a website. Then my phone buzzed. A new email. From no sender. I opened it, hands shaking. Lily, you shouldn't be here. Go back before it's too late. I dropped my phone, because whoever sent that message knew my name. I slammed my laptop shut. This was just a prank. It had to be. But when I turned away from my desk, I froze. My apartment door was wide open. The hallway outside was pitch black. I knew I had locked that door. I forced my feet to move, stepping forward. The air beyond the doorway felt different, colder, like stepping into a place that wasn't supposed to exist. Then a whisper. Lily. The voice came from the darkness. Too close. I backed away, my breath coming in shallow gasps. Then my laptop screen flickered back on. A new message appeared on the forum. Lily, don't leave your apartment. They're looking for you. My heart slammed against my ribs. I turned, just in time to see a shadow move in the dark hallway. Something was standing there, watching. Then it stepped inside. I ran. I sprinted for my bedroom, slamming the door behind me and locking it. My chest rose and fell in shallow, panicked breaths. The air outside the door shifted, a soft scraping sound, like fingertips dragging across the wood. Then a whisper. You shouldn't be here. I stumbled backward. My phone vibrated in my hand. A new message. Unknown user. They are trying to erase you. If they reach you, you will disappear. Tears burned my eyes. What do? I typed back. The response came immediately. Unknown user. You have to find your body. My hands shook as I typed. What do you mean? No response. Then, a knock at the bedroom door. Soft, slow, like a warning. And my laptop screen updated again. A new forum post. Lily, your time is almost up. I had to get out. I wrenched open my bedroom window, climbing onto the fire escape. My breath fogged in the cold night air as I looked down. And that's when I saw the wreckage. A crushed car. Smoke rising from the hood. Police lights flashing in the distance. I stopped breathing. The license plate. It was my car. A sinking realization crashed over me. I had never made it home. I had been lying in that car the whole time. And if I didn't reach my body soon, I would fade completely. I climbed down the fire escape, running toward the accident. The closer I got, the harder it was to breathe. The world around me flickered, the edges turning black. My time was running out. Then, a hand grabbed my wrist. I turned and saw myself, broken, fading. She looked at me, eyes wide with terror. Wake up, she whispered. Then, the world collapsed. I woke up in a hospital bed. The beeping of machines filled the room. My body ached. My head pounded. A nurse rushed over. She's awake. I was alive. I had made it back. But when I reached for my phone, a new notification was waiting. Welcome back, Lily. You escaped this time. But we are always watching.